player that played the best for the team, and that certainly was Flame in Game 2.
Certainly agree, and I think it's very easy to sometimes point to the player who is the benefit of all their team's help because they get to be the big star. You know, Cody-san was certainly kind of the big star and the focal point of the team. But when I'm thinking about who I think played best in the game, I also like to think about who enabled them and did they get that advantage themselves? Was it kind of gifted to them? And it was a combination. Cody-san played great, but he got a lot of help. Either way, we're here in Game 3, and we're having a very close series.
Certainly are. See who does come out ahead of Mortals. Remember, looking to extend to 5-1. Cloud9 trying to go positive. Only sitting at 2-2 to start this weekend. Bans are looking standard though so far. LeBlanc, Zac, Lee Sin, and Gragas are the first 4.
Gragas is a change-up, though. You know, Smithy was able to play it the first 2 games. He's been playing a lot this split. So Cloud9 is going to make him show us something different. Perhaps attack his champion pool pretty heavily here. See if he can force him onto something he's not as comfortable on. Smithy has been criticized in the past for not being able to necessarily play a variety of champions very well. He always has his guys, but sometimes when he's pushed outside of that comfort zone, he's not as effective.
Well, Cannon ban for Immortals going to take that split pusher off the table, and C9 with a lot of choices to make. Galio has been banned every game also, so maybe that's Cloud9's final ban here, but got a pretty tough decision to make leading into Immortals' first pick.
So since Fiora is not banned, leaving Galio up is more defendable if you're willing to actually go for that kind of a matchup, but C9 going to play it safe, going to take him off the table.
Yeah, I think team's finally starting to realize that Galio might be a little too good.
Might be cheap.
He's very cheap. As Flame flicking through some potential champions he could play. Not sure how I feel about Aatrox and whatever the first one was, but at least definitely makes sense here as a first pick.
Aatrox top isn't too bad, at least in solo queue. And Fiora, I would have been down with it, although it would have been ballsy as that blind first pick.
I can't remember what the first champion was, but Flame up. Flash another troll champ. Instead, at least there from Immortals, and we'll see how Cloud9 respond. Olaf is available.
And I always like Olaf into Elise. I think it matches up quite well and is going to be that pick here eventually. Interesting to note that, you know, now they're kind of shifting away from the Xayah. Sneaky has put a lot of priority onto that, but decides to go not with Caitlyn, not with Xayah, but with the Varus this time around, and that's going to prompt the instant response of the Xayah back from Cody-san, and Olay is going to get one of his premier playmakers.
Like you said, no Morgana option likely here for Smoothie, so Cloud9 are going to lock in something else, but Xayah Thresh going to steal C9's bot lane from last game.
Now, one of the options I would really like for Smoothie already, seeing the draft from Immortals, would be something like a Tahm Kench, right? And if you can see that, you can expect that Immortals can think about that too, perhaps ban it away, perhaps they're okay with playing it. But when you have Cocoon, when you have Hook, Tahm Kench is such a good answer to both. And then you have such a big amount of safety for your carries, right? Like Olaf does not really have to worry about those in the team fights because of his ultimate. Shen is not as concerned, and Tahm Kench can protect those carries.
It's important to note that Shen is getting through, and Cloud9 are already starting to protect it, banning away Fiora in Phase 2. Immortals gave Impact's Shen a lot of attention already in the series on the ban list, as Syndra gets taken away from Jensen. Cobalt are going to set things up once more, and tend to not want to give Jensen Syndra as a general rule. There's Renekton though banned away, so again, Cloud9 going to use both their Phase 2 bans on setting up Impact's 1v1.
Yeah, it's really smart. I mean, if you want to go Shen, Flame loves Fiora, you should not leave that up. Renekton, another champion that can certainly bully. There are other options that can bully that Shen, or just kind of play for other styles like the Jarvan. That's going to be a good answer here. And the question comes down, does Immortals look to that Tahm Kench? No, they're actually looking for the Playmaker, because that was the answer that Smoothie had to Thresh last time. I do think if you want to go for something that is like a very high damage mid laner, you can go for that Tahm Kench pretty easily. But Orianna, it takes a long time to get going. Olaf and Shen are not massive damage dealers. So you may see more of like either a pick support or a DPS support such as like Zyra or something like that coming from Smoothie to try to round out their composition.
Well, they are going to counter pick support, actually taking Orianna away from Pobelta.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if they're going to go for even more CC, even more pick, then Tahm Kench becomes that much more viable, right? So I think that there's a lot to be said for the strategy that C9 is showing, and it also shows how much confidence they have in Smoothie, not only as a player, but, you know, as like this linchpin for the team who can really get the most out of that last pick.
Well, Jensen takes Orianna. That prompts a pretty instant Taliyah pick there for Pobelta. Certainly been one of the more common matchups people have played. And there's Kled actually for Flame. So he's going to stick to the theme more of like bruiser fighter style champions. Yes, he's capable of playing more than a pure carry style, but he tends not to play hard tanks. He much prefers these more aggressive champions. And that's also been the top lane meta trend. So Flame's kind of fitting both there.
Yeah, I think it fits playstyle. I think it fits meta. I'm sure he would have gone for something like the Kennen or the Fiora had they been available, but they're not. Now the Tahm Kench being hovered makes a lot of sense. So I guess they wanted
You're a genius!
I guess they wanted to see if it would fit into, you know, still what the rest of the picks were. Nothing came out that kind of dissuaded them from doing this. There is a lot of CC, and this is a great answer to that. The one concern you do kind of have for Cloud9 and this composition is that if your carries are not quite strong, this is a very underwhelming amount of damage that's coming out, right? You know, Shen and Olaf, while they have strong base damage, and Olaf especially can be really strong early, in the later game team fights, you better have Varus and Orianna crushing it, or you will not actually have enough damage.
Certainly will not. And even interesting in some ways to see Varus over both Xayah and Caitlyn was kind of the other consideration there, but maybe trying to shore up the lane a little bit more. See how the 2v2 does shake out. Cody and Ole have had an excellent first almost 3 weeks of play.
Yeah, while I would say Caitlyn is stronger probably in the 2v2 and even as far as like the actual just straight up damage and team fighting type thing, one of the reasons I think you want to go for Varus in a situation like this is if you look across the board, they're so low on CC in this team composition. You have Shen, and then you have like some slows. Yeah, sure, you have Tahm Kench stun, but that doesn't happen that much. You're very rarely using Devour offensively as Tahm Kench support. So follow-up, right? You're going to be looking to engage. The Olaf gets sped up by Orianna. Ults in there. Shen ults in on top of him. You hit that taunt, and then you have follow-up with that Varus ultimate. So that is something that really does work towards that Varus.
Well, we've gone the distance here in this one. Game 3 just about to start between Immortals and Cloud9. And it's kind of funny to see Cloud9 borrowing Immortals' strategy in some senses, and Immortals borrowing Cloud9 strategy. Lots of pick potential, some good aggression that IMC can play with, and C9 say, we tried 2 different comps with some strong pick elements. We're going to take a team fight comp into this last game.
Yeah, and I think C9 want to play something, you know, more standard. They don't want to be as pigeonholed into playing the game one way or really trying to assert their dominance onto their opponents. It worked out game 1, game 2 it did not, so now they're going back to something much more standard. And while Immortals comp is relatively pick heavy, this is still something that you can like team fight with as well, because you do have pseudo frontline. You have enough of a frontline between Kled and the Thresh that you should be okay if you go to those stages. And you don't favor them in 5v5s late, but they're definitely going to have their opportunities.
Yep, should feel pretty good there as everyone's just fanning out across Summoner's Rift. Sneaky having a giggle there in the bottom brush, as Cody's just passing back and forth in the try right now. Looks like no early information will be gathered, so we'll set out on our lanes just as expected, but can likely predict blind that these jungles will start Raptors, and these positions should indicate the standard start here.
Yeah, especially because both the mid laners can help out pretty easily with that jungle start. Shouldn't be a problem at all. Both of them kind of just throw a Q over. Taliyah Leash is actually insane for Raptors, so that is very, very nice. And then I'm trying to think of who is better. I mean, Galio, but like not many more are better than that as far as Taliyah goes.
Yep, the leash is so good actually that we see people consistently take small Raptors, so props to Pobelta for doing that one correctly. Smithy going to speed through it as a result, but contracts will fly through the jungle on Olaf here.
Yeah, you definitely will, and while I think that contracts on this Olaf is something happening here on the bot side, you have to be careful about long trades versus the Tahm Kench, because if he can actually get his stacks up and stun or eat you, it can definitely turn things around pretty quickly. But you know, one of the things about the Olaf is you're really strong at level 6, I think, against the Elise if you're relatively evenly matched, because you're immune to the Cocoon, which is such a big part of her damage. But you clear at low HP, because through your passive, the lower you are, you're going to get level 2.
Yeah, nice level 2 for Ole. Landing up the hook. Does land onto Smoothie. He's still only level 1, but Sneaky going to hold on to his sums. Exhaust is burnt, but only one summoner spell out for C9's duo.
They're just fighting too much, so I'm not allowed to say it. But TLDR, Olaf could die early, but going to be pretty good late.
All right, well, Contracts playing it pretty safe, actually. Ole going to roam up towards this blue buff.
This is actually a repeat of something that they did earlier. They shoved in, and then they moved up to try to threaten the invade and the steal away. It is pretty scary, though, against an Olaf, because if Olaf hits some axes on you, he can chase you down, so Ole is not going to play as bold as he did in the previous game, where he was trying to steal away the blue buff from Elise.
So Contracts might have even delayed his route to hold on to a smite, predicting Ole to come up also. So lots of little levels. Ole is going to get some vision down there.
Plus, you just like being low HP on the Olaf. It speeds up your clear. You attack faster, and that is going to be something that's pretty powerful. And just pretty much going with that full clear is going to be very nice.
And with the Krugs left, Xmithie doing the same. So pretty passive start for these junglers so far. But will be nice and healthy and experienced as they look for those first buys relatively soon. Good hook there again. Smoothie gobbles him up though. Oh, there could be more problems as heal burnt out by Sneaky. Once more Ole. Just so accurate with these skill shots.
Yeah, really nice, honestly. But Contracts is behind them. Xmithie is down here too. Oh, they don't see Xmithie. Now they do. And they're going to collapse onto Contracts and look to kill him.
Still going for it, but Contracts needs to kite it out of the way. Nothing left there. Great gobble from Smoothie. Flashes in to try and save his jungler, but I'm not sure it's enough. There's going to be first blood. Actually goes to Contracts, but Cody flashes in, gets double block. Smoothie goes down as Elise grabs the next kill, and now Xmithie looking to maybe go down with a flash out from Sneaky as he does get the fadeaway kill. Everyone's got double blocks in the bottom lane.
What a ridiculous fight. Very close on both sides and ended up extremely even. Cloud9 does get the first blood, but they are actually even in gold here. C9 looking pretty good. Only 8 more kills for Sneaky.
Exactly. Got literally 0 in game 2, so things looking okay, but this was nuts.
This is really cool. So the timing on this, they just now see Contracts really smart for Immortals. They immediately go onto him, focusing him down, but Smoothie flashes, eats him out of there, and Sneaky is trading damage this entire time, not actually just fully running away. That allows them to get that first kill, and then Smoothie buying quite a bit of time here. Good focus fire, but Jensen now going to be the target mid lane.
Smoothie here though, just to be sure. Yep, little tricky there versus Time, and now the gank top lane started. Contract dismounts Flame as he's going to get a kill here for the top side. Contracts grab the second.
Good stuff from Contracts. Gets a kill bottom, gets a kill top. Already has the early Lucidity boots for that Ghost cooldown, and he's looking to fight Xmithie here too, but both of us there way faster.
Doesn't have his ultimate. Jensen a little far behind. He's going to shield up his jungler. Now trying to force one off. Smoothie again! Not in time to save. And Jensen actually fighting back in. The TP for Flame, though, is going to turn it back around. Jensen getting jumped on. Ole's here, but Smoothie gets him over the wall. Doesn't have a flash, but dances around the wall. Just enough to save Jensen. Might have to sacrifice his own life. Grey health is there. Does pop it at the very last second.
Oh, that was very scary. They could have easily killed both Jensen and Smoothie off, but Smoothie with some really nice moves. The sidestep on the hook there, too, was critical. The Contracts got a little bit too confident. Your mid laner is pushed in. Powelter will always be able to roam first, and he just kind of wandered up into the Elise, and we're going to see the top side gank now. Flame is shoving in, pretty vulnerable here. Taunt flash there from Impact, so even though the taunt was looking like it was going to go wide, you flash to redirect it to your opponent, and able to pick up that kill as a result.
Sneaky backing off, though. Smoothie has spent quite a lot of time out of his lane. In fact, both supports this series have done a heavy amount of roaming, which is always fun to see. Impact, though, TP's back to the top side, has Barmy Cinder built up and some boots as he puts a ward down into that brush. So it should be feeling pretty good in this 1v1. Flame already TP'd back and looking a little bare on total items right now.
Yeah, not really the most powerful point that
Not inspiring.
No, certainly not. You'd love to be, getting that really early Tiamat if you can afford that kind of a buy, or even something like a Fade should be pretty strong. Balmy Cinder as a first buy for Shen is always going to feel so good. It gives you a lot of combat power, and one of the kind of hidden things about that is you can very easily keep yourself in combat for Grasp of the Undying procs, which is really, really strong. Because you just stand near one minion and the burn will put you in combat, so you can have trades where you start with a Grasp proc and you also end the trade with a Grasp proc.
Things are going pretty well right now. Sneaky looks to recall on top of a ward again as the first blind hook from Ole is going to cancel it. Should be able to cancel this one more. In fact, might even go additionally aggressive. But it looks like neither bot lane has back for a while, so likely have some gold to spend.
One of the things, though, about that is they know Shen is level 6 now, so you have to be very wary of that Stand United. Contracts, once he hits 6, is going to be much more confident going up against Xmithie, but he is still level 5 because he got killed off, and they are wrapping around here onto the Shen. They do see Olaf at the red buff, and Xmithie is debating, does he want to go top, or does he want to try to stop this this junk.
Yeah, it depends how Contracts is going, but Flame already heavily losing
Taliyah
that
moving up
trade.
too.
Starts pulling back. Pobelta looking for something here in the top side, but Impact still tanking it up. Flame burns the ultimate down. The stun lands from McSmithy, and Flame, he'll pick it up.
Really nicely done there from Immortals, getting that kill on Impact, who was trying to sidestep everything. They couldn't force it, and this whole time, Contracts actually got nothing done. He was kind of hesitating, didn't even start up one of the camps, moving back and forth because he's so scared of Smithy, and now Pobelter's here too.
Great cut off there by Pobelta. Flame's going to dive through the turret.
Gone.
The Contracts has to try and run. He's got the Ghost, but he's got no ultimate. He's booking it as fast as he can. Runs down river towards the arms of Jensen. He's safe.
Run, baby, run. Just gets right
That's the
out
only
there
way to get out.
with that Ghost. Now hits 6. Pretty nice, so he will be feeling a little bit more confident about that. Still good stuff happening for Immortals top side. The wave also going to be pushed in by Flame, so Impact going to be losing some of that CS, and the wave will bounce back to their opponents, but Smithy looking to counter jungle some more.
Pretty big CS lead right now as Impact picks some more up. Was 20 as the wave crashes towards. Oh, steals the puck away. Does get the stun. Contracts pops the ultimate, but there's the Stand United. Smithy immediately repels out to the Krugs. But where can he go that's safe? They're going to chase him down. The ward over the top despite him, but he's just buying time. Pobelta, now ultimate's kind of roaming in, but Jensen looks to be cutting him off, and Impact has the flash almost back up, but not a whole lot Contracts can do there.
Yeah, exactly, and now Jensen getting chunked out here big time by Pobelter. You know, normally if Contract was healthy, that'd be an easy play to make because you corral him from both sides, but because he has vision on them and Contracts is so low, if they split up, Smithy simply meets up and kills Contracts.
Jensen with a nice max range shockwave trying to get the solo kill flash. Oh no, that's enough! Takes down Pobelta.
Pobelter underestimating the damage there from Jensen. Blows the flash, and you cannot flash that auto. The animation has already gone off. Jensen getting that kill back, and he's already up a lot of CS, so that is going to give him some very strong mid lane dominance.
It's certainly not a matchup where you expect Orianna to get any sort of lead on her own. Usually one that goes even or better for Taliyah. So impressive there for Jensen, picking up the solo kill, have the damage exactly calculated, and they'll trade flashes, but Pobelta also gives away his life.
I mean, Jensen is known for his laning. You know, many people will make the argument that Bjergsen is the better player overall, but not a lot of people will make the argument that he has better laning than Jensen. This guy is just a monster, nails the exact range on that shockwave, chunks him low, has confidence that the auto will finish him off. So flash, as soon as the auto flies, there's no reaction that Pobelta can do, so the flash gets expended, but doesn't make anything happen.
Certainly does not, as Sneaky Smoothie feeling a bit better about themselves in this bottom side. Ultimates available across the board in the 2v2. Ole goes aggressive. Box pop. Smoothie immediately fixes that problem. And despite the CS lead here in the bottom side for Immortals, you can kind of see the frustration that happens playing against Tahm Kench.
Yeah, Tahm Kench is so annoying, and that seemed pretty ambitious. I mean, maybe if Smithy was there, they could have made something happen, but Contracts up on the top side, trying to alleviate some of the pressure that Flame is developing, and here he goes, Ghost popped.
Ghost in again, Flame flashes early this time, ulti's out as well, so burns it all but stays safe. Didn't want to get dismounted there and potentially taken down.
Yeah, Impact still has his flash available though, and yeah, Contracts spent his Ghost, but this is a Lucidity boots Olaf, who's going to have Insight too, so he's going to have a lot of cooldown reduction on those summoner spells, and it's not a big expense to use your Ghost on Olaf.
Ooh, another trap being set. Jensen with a shockwave ready, hoping somebody does something silly. Pobelta does something very smart though, and reveals Contracts in Jensen with the Scry's Bloom. All right, play's over. Cena not going to get any pickoffs there.
And now it's just about, can you actually capitalize on the fact that some of these summoners are down, right? Pobelter, flashless. Flame, flashless. Where does Contracts want to go? Where can he actually get an advantage? Immortals are setting up for a top lane swap. They're going to try to rush down this turret. If Impact is not expecting this, he has no vision whatsoever. He could very easily get wrapped around on. He needs a flash.
3 already here. Flame's going to go back. Hook's not going to lit. The Cocoon misses as well. Flame still diving in though. Might still be enough through it all. That Bear Trap's going to pull him back in. Flame able to get the kill. Immortals with a great turret dive.
And they're going to get first turret here too, so very well done by Immortals. Great move to the top side. They get the summoner out, they get the kill, and that global gold, and that is a big lead that they've opened up for themselves. C9 is pushing on the bot side, but they're so behind the play, Immortals can go for 2 turrets.
Yeah, able to keep pushing here for IMT. Smoothie not even close to the area. He's the only one on this side of the map.
He was there. There's nothing for a Tahm Kench to do in a solo defense. You know, it would have been better for him to be bot side, perhaps helping to push, but they're going to lose not only first turret, but 2 turrets for 1. Immortals goes up quite a bit.
Great play there from IMT. C9 do finish off the bottom side turret, but significantly slower than the 4-man squad of Immortals. Take down Impact in the process, who now does not have his summoner spells, so we'll see exactly where the lane assignments do end up. Looks like Flame is on duty down towards the bottom side of the map at this stage. And might be rotating side to the mid lane, but we'll see exactly where Cody wants to go. Because Pobel's still happy to wave clear versus Jensen also. But a lead is a lead. Immortals up about 1,000 gold.
Yeah, definitely looking good. You know, even 2,000, over 2,000 gold.
I can't do math, so thank you very much.
So definitely, you know, a pretty nice early game lead. One thing going for C9 though, as we talked about in Champ Select, the importance of the damage dealers succeeding, right? And the kills are on Sneaky and Jensen, and both of them individually are doing well. So that is something going for them. Yes, Shen is very far behind, and Contracts is, you know, behind Smithy even a little bit. But it's okay for your tanks to be behind. It's not really okay for your damage dealers to be behind in this C9 case.
One second attempt on the solo. Does not net Contracts to Drake. In fact,
another turret going to go their way.
Yeah, another 4-man push starting. Impact is feeling the pressure right now.
He really is, and he has no safe wave clear. So C9 continues to do these pushes, and they're so much slower on the play because they're just sending them 1 or 2 members. The question is, can they even defend with the 3 members here on the tier 2? Because you don't want to give up another 2-for-1 trade, but Shen does not have good wave clear. It's not safe. Olaf does not really either. Neither does Tahm Kench, so they're trying to aggressively move forward and clear out this mid wave. They're in trouble.
Stun lands, but Smoothie with another good devour. Does save it. Sneaky is going to take the turret, but Immortals not done just yet with the pressure. Jensen, he's trying to move over, but Smithy does a good job to cut him off.
Yeah, it's the next wave. So now Jensen is going to have to try to come over to help defend, but he is cut off. This turret should be going down. We'll see if they actually look for the play.
Impact does get the top down. Flash Shockwave only gets 1. It's Flame, as he will dismount. Smithy, though, looking forward as he does repel out of the way.
Here's
trying to pick one up, but the Gobble and the Stand United is going to move Shen a little further forward. Flash out from Smoothie just to save his life, but C9 expend everything to save that turret and don't even get a kill.
Yeah, they at least keep the turret alive, but they couldn't finish off Smithy. They had to devour up Jensen to keep him safe. And now they were losing CS in the mid lane to the turret. Pobelter had already shoved that in before he roamed because they were ahead on the play. And Jensen does survive at least, and C9 are holding on, but certainly behind.
Yep, Shockwave just not quite the juicy 4-man that he might have been looking for.
Yeah, it was really close. The flash Shockwave, he wanted so badly to get Smithy, but Smithy barely flashes out there in time and not able to finish him off because the repel buys time, and he has to get devoured up rather by Smoothie.
Well, again, everyone's getting saved, but Immortals are still pressuring these turrets, looking for their 4th actually as they barrel down mid, but C9 with a 3-man defense this time, able to keep that one afloat. Flame back on the top side with his TP, though, although Impact does have his almost back as well. I
mean, Impact is just so behind. Like, he is so weak compared to this Kled right now. Down massively in farm. He, you know, is also down 2 kills. Like, he's down so much gold at this point for this early in the game that there's just no chance he can really 1v1 up against Flame. He's really going to have to just try to play very passively, clear out waves under his turret, and hope to be able to make plays with his ultimate.
No, IMT, you can see, being proactive. Not going to go for the roof turret here. That's should be enough, I think. Yeah, given the health that mid turret's at to knock it down by itself. So C9 do want to try and move in to defend it, but they have to start a fight, which they may not want to. They don't have everyone in position.
And I don't think they even want to fight even with everyone in position. Like, the best that they can hope for is scaring their opponents off of the Rift Herald, which is what they accomplished. But in a full committed 5v5 right now, Immortals is just quite a lot ahead.
Yeah, it really just is Jensen that has to find a really good angle on the Shockwave. I mean, Sneaky's got his first item, but Cody Sun's working towards his also, so Eddie carries at similar strength. It really just is that lethal Pobelter in the mid lane, and everyone else is far behind that. Nothing's really going right. Good cut off from Pobelter. Jensen trying to get the ball out of the back, but Carter Creeps will stay alive, and there's the turret for Immortals.
Very well done. Immortals is pushing the pace so fast in this game, constantly pressuring all the turrets. I mean, we are only 17 minutes in. They've already knocked down 4 turrets. That is a very good pace. They're extending their vision. Full vision control in C9's blue side jungle. They're counter jungling that. They can retreat back to the dragon. They have so many options, and they really are splitting this map very wide open.
4,000 gold up for them. It's so eerie almost to see how similar these teams look when ahead. In game 1 for C9, they just kind of snowballed their lead ahead. Immortals played it back in game 2 and they were able to weather the storm and move up from there. But it does feel like both these teams, especially when ahead, are capable of swiftly closing out games, which is always good to see. And I think C9 again going to be put to the test. Can they kind of get through to where Immortals could in game 2 and move the game back in their favor once they hit mid to late? The bad news for them being that they are behind, and Immortals were not this far behind in game 2.
No, they definitely weren't. You know, Immortals even stayed even in gold for most of the time, but they had gold and better targets and things like this. And this is just Immortals straight up way ahead. Plus, C9 wants to very clearly play like an organized 5v5. You have so much pick protection from Smoothie, and then you have this big front line. You have your two, hopefully for them, super powerful carries, and you just run this kind of like snowball competition. You charge in, and you take a straight up 5v5. Unfortunately, when Shen is insanely behind the Kled never actually has to join these 5v5 fights. You can just 1-3-1. Talia staying in a side lane. Kled can stay in a side lane. And they can deny C9 the chance at really getting that fight that they want to do. So they're just going to try to keep this spread out and look for picks when they can find them.
Well, looks like they're trying to zerk the Rift Tower, but Pobelta in trouble. Ghosts himself away. Does have the flash, but Contract's landing almost every act. Contract's going to run out of ulti though, and Pobelta does burn the flash to get out. Smoothie though does try and take it, but Pobelta rides away to the objective. Not sure they got the Herald. Does not look like it, but Pobelta does get away safely. Oh, and told alive. Smithy just channeling it then.
Yep, they do grab that Herald, and he gets away. Yes, the Summoners had to be expended, but this is another turret going down. C9 is nowhere near responding to this, and they're going to be able to go and retreat into the jungle and farm even more of that up. They are looking so good. 5 outers down before 20 minutes.
Yep, and they have to respond quickly because Rift Tower is going to keep going. Thankfully, C9 to retreat. They'll take minimal damage on the inhibitor turret in the mid lane, and looks like Immortals are looking to reset the map. Although Xmithie wanting to establish some vision around Baron, does find a ward here in this piece of brush and take that down.
Xmithie's still sitting on 100% KP. Really been doing well for himself, and interesting to see the kind of Zhonya's rush here. I think it does make quite some sense. A is an answer to Olaf, because during his ultimate you can simply pop the Zhonya's, you have the repel as well to buy time, and it's a really good answer to the Shockwave, right? You can Zhonya's up that Shockwave reactively, and that can be very, very powerful too.
Well, C9 again just trying to get some traction back in because Immortals have full control of the map at this stage. Kled hanging out on the bottom side. Pobelta is going to transfer to the top, and very standard strong side play by the teleport user, which is Flame. And then Pobelta able to pivot pretty quickly between whatever lanes Immortals are attacking. They did have excellent vision around the Baron area, but C9 have done their job in clearing that out. So right now they have the advantage on Baron, but Impact moving back down to that bottom lane, more than struggling. 50 CS down in that 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, he's still not even on one completed item at 21 minutes. Which is definitely rough, but Immortals looking to collapse, and they're looking to fight here.
Blue buff the Contract. Sneaky does get the root down onto Ole. Shockwave could be big. They need to try and take down Cody, but not enough damage as he flashes out from under Impact, who did ultimate in. Sneaky get took by Ole, but Contract still looking to chase them down, and no one dead somehow in that big exchange.
Yeah, both teams have to disengage. Cody Sen did get forced out, but C9 did not have enough damage to actually finish anyone off, and the disengage comes through. Impact trying to zone them off so they can push over towards this turret, but they're not really able to make it happen.
Yeah, nothing coming this time. Mid outer will stay up for Immortals. Flame did burn his TP. Impact holds on to his, and his ulti will be back soon. So potential global advantage there for C9, but again, just tending to their waves, farming up their carries, and trying to push this game later and later. I think we're looking at least 30 minutes for C9 to start thinking about these team fights they're building up towards.
Yeah, and they have to stop, falling further and further behind, right? If you could stabilize, if you're still down, 5K or whatever, or 4.5K in 10 or 15 minutes, then you can start thinking about it. But Immortals has been pushing the pace so much, taking away the jungle, extending their vision advantages, and you cannot think about winning team fights if you're 10, 15K behind, no matter what time the game really is, until you're at that 6 item point, then.
That pressure on Baron is mounting, however. Immortals again move back in, get that initial stage of vision in the river itself. Now looking to move through and get deep wards into the jungle. Sneaky being protected here by Tahm Kench. Does have 2 items now. Is Xmithie barely going to miss that cocoon.
And C9 can look to delay with kind of that global advantage that they have. You have the TP edge, so you can send Impact to just push waves and then try to, kind of just make Kled answer him and play safely enough that you can shove the wave but still not get all in, which is going to be tough for him because Kled is on 2 items and he just has a Sunfire Cape.
Good lance in there from Olay. Cody was under some threat. Impact actually staying with the team as Smoothie flashes out from under the shove, I believe.
Yeah. I think that was actually pretty smart with how much follow-up there is. I mean, if you get shoved in, you're going to take a massive amount of damage. You get rooted up, and they don't want to get picked off.
Dino trying to force Sneaky, does get the ult into Xmithie, but hooked by Olay in the process, shoved back by Pobelta. Now going to try with a man advantage. Contract running into the backline as Olay does fall to Jensen.
Here comes Kled.
Finally here, good
shockwave!
Gets the double. Smoothie grabs it for the third. And Impact now gobbled up by Smoothie to stay alive. Flame dismounted, and dead as Jensen grabs the triple kill, and Xmithie flashes away, the only Immortal left alive.
They're going to go straight for Baron. Jensen trying to zone Smithy away, and they do make use of Impact. He is there to the fight faster, didn't even have to spend his TP. Flame comes in so late, he's not able to be effective, and C9 found their opening. If they can take this Baron, we're pretty much dead even.
Gonna need a little bit more damage, and Sneaky unfortunately has to tank it, so Orianna is gonna move in. Jensen with some shields should be able to make this a little bit easier, and Baron is gonna take enough damage. Immortal's not there to contest. And now all of a sudden, C9 gonna even the game right back up.
Yeah, such a big win for them. This is just a massive fight. Impact has already roamed to the team. He is there faster. It is a 5v4. They find the starting pick onto Smithy, so Smithy is already out of the fight. Now you're looking at essentially what is a 5v3 because Smithy just has to spend the whole fight running. Kled is not even here. By the time he does come, this shockwave was just perfect from Jensen, picking up the triple kill there. The one member who had even or ahead gold to his opponents was Jensen, and he really is able to make that pay off.
Yep, delivers the big shockwave, and C9 are going to abuse their newfound power. And let's see what damage they can get done and get themselves ahead in this game with the Baron buff. To point out though, unfortunately, it wasn't even Impact roaming to the play. He was actually just sticking with the team. So I don't know if Flame wanted to be in the spot he was without his TP, and whatever the call was, whatever the setup was trying to be, Immortals do get punished for their mistake.
I mean, he was just trying to split push, and Impact just walked over, right? Like, he didn't use his TP, so he still does have TP and Stand United. And it's just a smart move from Impact, and it was a good force from C9 with that man advantage. Sneaky lands the ult, and that's something that we talked about drafting Varus for, is the CC. It gives you some of the ability to set up fights like that and to look for engages, and Sneaky really able to make it work, but now they're trying to collapse onto Impact. We'll see if he can escape. He could even just look for a Stand United out, but Immortals don't even have the confidence to try to fight.
Yep, just taunts away. A little bit of extra distance on his dash. And now Sneaky getting the Baron minions working into the mid lane. Pobelta feeling pretty safe, going to clear those out with a bit of help from Olay. But Ocean Drake also over to C9, so managed to kind of right the ship on that objective as well. So we'll see how much C9 can get done. Still behind 3 turrets total. Immortal still with 6. And Cloud9 are going to need to take a few more here.
But you do get a little bit nervous when you are essentially now even in gold and you have taken more turrets. So there's more standing gold on the map, which can be collected pretty easily, you would think, by C9 with the Baron buff. So there's certainly a potential for a very big Baron power play, but they do still want to be careful because Kled can look for one of these powerful engages and they can try to find an on-mid fight. They're looking for it mid lane now.
Flame going straight away. The rest of the models there. Great up from Sneaky as Pobelta loses his Banshee. Sneaky does get eaten up by Smoothie. He's trying to run away, but the Stand United might save it. Redemption down, but Smoothie already dead. Contract's now moving in as I don't think Impact was able to join. Smoothie dies before the ult completes, and now Sneaky cutting out. He's dead to Pobelta as Immortal chased down for 2.
Yeah, really good engage, and actually the fact that Smoothie did not get his thick skin off was so big, because if he uses that thick skin there for the shield, Impact should have been able to get into the fight. He would have had enough time to join, and that could have meant that he would be able to peel for Sneaky. So that really was a pretty fight-changing mistake.
The real technology is just ult Sneaky.
Yeah.
His Contract's now caught as well. Does not have his ultimate, so a great hook from Olay. Oh, gonna give Cody's son a kill. Immortals pick up 3 straight on the play, and Baron stripped off C9.
Yeah, and C9 doesn't get that much out of the Baron power play. We're in a very even game here, but let's watch it once again. They see Impact is top. 2 men are down on the bot side. Jensen is not there, so they're trying to have Sneaky set up so he is the one that would get hit by the Kled ult, and then Smoothie will be the one to eat it back up. They do use that Devour. The Shen ult's coming in, but no Grey Health able to come out. Smoothie just underestimating the damage coming out there a little bit. Not able to get that off. So now you have to see Impact TPing in. By the time he gets here, there's no way he can actually peel for Sneaky. There's no way that they can win that fight.
Yeah, the fight's just over. Immortals just with a fantastic force to remove
Power of Kled.
all of that power play from C9, and we may very well see one of the rarely seen negative Baron power plays. We'll have to check in just a second, but C9, that was kind of the moment to get ahead in this game, and unfortunately now after that great play from Immortals, going to fall a bit further behind.
Yeah, they are a bit behind, but they're still in a much better spot than they were, 5-10 minutes ago. And as far as team fighting comps, they have a very powerful one. Jensen is ridiculously strong on this Orianna, and he wasn't even involved in that fight because he was bot lane. So C9 doesn't have to be too worried just yet, simply because there was nothing for Immortals to really take off the map after that. Had that been that sort of fight into a Baron, that would have been devastating for C9, but it was already off the map.
Yep, Immortals do well to kind of maintain their lead in this game, however slight it is. Positive for C9
on a rope
on the BPP, but not too bad as Olay going to keep the CC coming. Impact with a flash, gets out of the way of the Flay. Bear Trap is going again, but a good flash dash from Impact. Now going to get followed by Flame in the ultimate. Cody Sun going to run him down, and there's the Flay back into the box. Olay! Yet another one. Actually, his first of this game.
Not able to actually get away from that Kled. It's so hard. They have so much CC, the ultimate to catch back up. They do kill off the Shen, and now Immortals are looking to try to push the pace. They have not been on the offensive for the last 5 or so minutes, and they are really looking to get something done now with this man advantage. We'll see if they can at least establish full vision control. They have quite a few wards out on the map, and they're trying to push in. Not sure they'll have the confidence to look for a dive, though.
No, and if we kind of needed something to help spur this rather tense game on, the next Drake is Infernal, spawning at a minute 55, and Baron will spawn 15 seconds before it. Pobelta trying to cut Jensen off and does so successfully. Smoothie gets him over the wall though, but the stun lands in onto the backside. Sneaky taking damage, almost getting chunked to death. As Smithy low also, but he gets out with the Lantern. Attempt there for IMT, but no damage really on the turret.
Yeah, and Impact is back up now, so they have to back off knowing that the Stand United is still available. That was not expended. That is something you're always going to have to be quite careful about. So C9 are able to hold on and not really give up much more than just the Impact kill, which should not really be that big a deal.
Impact and Flame actually should both be moving towards level 16 relatively soon, so rank 3 ultimates can also affect the next engagements, and if nothing else, take the cooldowns much lower. Flame also has a GA, so he is ready to go as far as backline diet.
Yeah, and that GA is pretty interesting purchase. Standard third item has been the Gargoyle Stoneplate to really give you that tankiness, but he is prioritizing the dive, he is prioritizing the damage. He wants to go for a carry, trade his life out for someone like Sneaky, but C9 are looking to set up the play. They have Stand United, and Cody Sun is not here. This would be a 5v4.
Great pings though from Immortals, sensing that Cloud9 might be there, so C9
very good
do get spotted on the next ward. Poke off the Banshees there of Pobelta, but Cody Sun safely rejoins the team now with his 3 items plus the QSS and a Last Whisper. Both ADs looking nice and strong. Sneaky not with the Last Whisper just yet, but not a whole lot of armor to burn through, to be honest.
No, not really much at all there on the side of Immortals, but definitely Sneaky would like to have something like a QSS. I think that you don't always need to have it, but it can be that extra safety on top of Tahm Kench, and there's kind of multiple schools of thought here. You can either say, hey, Tahm Kench will always keep me safe, so I'll just build super aggressively and get my advantage that way, or you can say, well, if I have a QSS and Tahm Kench, I can play more aggressively, I can move more offensively forward, and that's how you'll get more DPS out.
See C9 trying to start some sort of fight, but Impact has to go answer the split push started by Pobelta, and now pings onto the Infernal Drake. Cody Sun's actually moving down, might even go for a solo attempt with Flame behind him. Cody's got more than enough damage to take this himself, and he's going to get it here. C9 not able to get a very crucial objective.
And that's smart from Immortals. Send just the one guy down, and now they're going to have Flame starting up that split push. You keep the rest of the squad around Baron so that C9 cannot answer with that immediate Baron take. C9 is just going to be able to try to clear out some vision. That's all they're really going to get back for this. Be able to establish that vision control in the area, drop down some pings, drop down some wards, Impact back to base. And they're actually starting this up. They're trying to force out a Flames TP, I do believe. And they can answer with either Impact's TP or the Stand United.
Great wall there from Pobelta, but C9 all get on the same side of it. Baron's going to reset. Smoothie actually, I think, trying to keep it from resetting, but plenty of regen there, so not happening.
That was a really good ultimate from Pobelta. That saves him having used TP from Flame, which would net C9 that global advantage. And a smart thinking from him. All they had to do was delay the Baron. They're pushing up mid. They're pushing in bot as well.
Yeah, Pobelter continuing to be a pest here in all these different split push
just
scenarios.
wow.
I mean, they kind of have to.
I mean, you can look for a collapse too, right? There are options, but they're trying to force this. This is risky. Now they get the TP. They need to disengage. Can they get corralled?
They will do so. Pobelter down here. Flame actually pretty good TP ward, but does reset the situation. C9 know that they need to force Immortals to come and try a team fight.
This is risky. I mean, Immortals can just go mid lane, and that inhibitor turret is so low. C9 are staying around the Baron so long that they're just going to lose their base. Now all Immortals has to do is delay the backs. They've already lost the inhibitor turret. They can get onto this inhibitor. C9 is really kind of watching us. Immortals just really handled it better.
Yeah. Later into the game, not looking so hot for C9. Impact tries to taunt, does land it in, but Cody's already took down the inhibitor, and now it's just going to run out of the way. Sneaky with an ultimate ready to go. Does get the Q down, but doesn't want to flash in to make some sort of heroic play. And C9 just lose out on their inhibitor there.
Yeah, just nice responses from Immortals. Very calm, collected. They force that first Baron stop with the Taliyah ultimate. Then they push up mid. C9 trying very heavily to force on Baron. Yes, they did eventually get that TP, so that is something working for them, and they can try to go back to this play. And at least for C9, it's not the bot lane inhibitor, it is mid lane, which is much more easy to deal with and still pressure Baron. So look for them to try to continue to force that play to try to get something out of the fact that they at least got Flame's TP.
Well, C9 gonna have to go back and spend some money. I think Jensen's got Avoid stuff, does go back and get it, and Sneaky also with about 1,800 gold to spend as well. So we'll see what he goes for. Next is a Last Whisper, so set up for damage, although QSS not there just yet.
Last Whisper doesn't really make sense here as a purchase for Sneaky, simply because there's actually no armor except Zhonya's and a tiny bit on the Guardian Angel, right? So that could be, you know, better spent on something like perhaps just a VS sword. You know, the one argument for it is he could be anticipating that armor is now coming and he wants to have this to be already ready before it's built up. But here is the start again. Flame does have his ultimate, and he can ult from very far at rank 16.
Yeah, Pobelter here as well, back with the wall, so might just cut them into the pit this time around.
Here it comes.
Again, trying to move out of the way, but they leap in onto Cody Sunny. Ulti's out, Featherstorm is huge, but Contract moves through it there. Sneaky fighting for his life as a stand United down at Contract, looking to win that 1v1. Jensen takes down Olay, and C9 might have turned it all around. They do get the kill. Cody is down and Flame now caught, does have his GA, but not mounted. Gonna revive, but he's gonna revive in mini form. Blasting Cone gets taken. Jensen dominating, takes him down.
Oh, Jensen so strong in these team fights, and C9 are able to get the eventual advantage from the TP being down from Flame. Yes, he had his ultimate. He got there pretty quick, but Cody Sen has already been pushed out of the fight, and now C9 do go back to the Baron. They're committing to it. TP is coming in from Impact. Can Pobelter and Smithy hold on?
I mean, they have to try and at least keep the jungler out. They don't want a 50-50 C9. Actually in a pretty precarious spot. Smithy gets chunked. Propels forced out. He goes into the pit though. Pumps the zone. He's just
Smithy.
buying time. Damage still there, but Smithy. Oh my god, he stole it! C9 not able to take him down, and Immortals are going to save the game.
That was a thing of beauty from Smithy. One of the best Baron steals you will see. They collapse on him. He buys so much time with the Zhonyas, with the repel, is able to flash forward, get onto the Baron, and combines all his damage to burst it down and save the game for Immortals. So let's watch this again. C9 actually do a pretty good job collapsing over to him. They're trying to wait. They actually stop damage on the Baron, but the Baron has gotten relatively low. He flashes over out of that, bursts it down with the Q smite. Really beautiful stuff from Smithy. That is one of the best plays you will see this year.
Absolute insanity. Smithy still dead for 5 more seconds, but gifts the rest of his team the Baron. And more importantly, takes it away from C9 with the Elder Dragon respawning in a minute 5. This close game is only getting closer.
That was just sick. I mean, just take a moment, soak that one in. That definitely was a thing of beauty from Smithy, and that really was what C9 had worked towards so heavily. You know, they gave up their mid inhibitor to set up that eventual play because Flame didn't have his TP. So when you take all this into consideration, how much they gave up to force that Baron, the fact that Smithy stole it away is so good for his team. And now the Elder is going to be coming up. They have the split push advantage. They have Baron on a couple members, and Immortals are still in this game and really looking to get something done.
Flame moves in, looks for the bear trap, doesn't grab it onto Impact, but Now with the TP almost back up and Pobelter having his ultimate, these 2 to 3 lane pressure with the Baron for Immortals is a lot for C9 to handle right now.
It really is, but we're always going to have to look back to Jensen too, who is just monstrous in this game. You know, 370 CS, 6 kills. He's closing in on a full build, right? And this is a guy who has been keeping them in this game the whole time. And he can turn around fights. He can single-handedly win a fight for the team with the right shockwave. So definitely a lot of respect has to be paid. Pobelter staying topside, though. They're not actually trying to do this Elder Dragon. They're trying to force onto the inhibitor. That's the play they're making. We'll see if they can go for this base race because C9 is on the Elder, and they're diving Impact.
Yeah, the force actually here in Impact trying to get back away. Shot from Pobelter. He's going to land onto Impact. Impact still needs to keep cutting, but Flame does take him down. Elder Dragon goes to C9, but they need to get back to the base.
Yeah, and Immortals just has to try to delay them. So Smoothie is trying to move forward, give his team time to get back there, but the base is dying. They already have taken down another inhibitor. They do get a kill, but this is a pretty big trade for them. Baron buff minions already going to be on the Nexus turrets.
Shockwave only on Smithy, but they do get the kill. Smart from Smoothie to ride Contracts in with the ultimate as the rest of C9 make it back. Still 2 inhibs down. I mean, mid will respawn. It's actually already back up, but IMT at least gets something.
Some really risky stuff from both teams, making very bold play calls. And C9 is able to get that Elder Dragon. Would have been devastating had they lost it again to Smithy, so they do secure it. They get a kill, but they trade out a kill, an inhibitor, and an inhibitor tower. And they have the stronger split pusher right now. So these are all things that you have to keep in mind when you're evaluating the eventual value of these plays. And now C9, they have the Elder Dragon buff, but the question is, can you get on the map and actually get something done, you know, in the couple minutes that you have it, when there's all this pressure on your base?
I think probably not. At this point, it just kind of resets the game to another neutral point. We're almost 40 minutes through this one. The next Elder Dragon will be at like 48 minutes or so, which is a long way away. Next Baron's going to be more important than that, and IMT's Baron just dropped off. So a few minutes of respite, but that's not very many.
But C9 may try to force. You know, if you can force very aggressively with this Elder, you could maybe turn this into an advantageous play for you. Because if you can start a fight, if you can ace your opponents, it doesn't even matter that they still have outer turrets up. This late in the game, you can sometimes just straight up end. So they're looking to try to get some more value from this Elder in the extended play to make that trade not so bad for them.
Thankfully for them, only 1 inhib being down means that Impact is actually the perfect babysitter for that side lane, but Flame's getting it going in the other side. A negative Baron power play, unfortunately, for IMT, but not surprising after that steal. Contracts popped his ultimate and got saved by Smoothie.
But that means they have to fully back off, right? You spend that cooldown. You definitely do not want to fight now. The Elder is not going to be on them for that much more time. The side lane is being pushed in a little bit by Flame, so they have to be careful because you know that Flame can look for the collapse here too.
Flame actually moving up in towards the jungle behind Smoothie right now. They're not going to chase in further as Sneaky meets the wave here in bottom side and pushes that back in their direction. Pobelter, though, again, still so pesky up in that top side, getting things shoving. And I mean, we see a lot of this with any sort of Taliyah-based comp where you have kind of 1.5 split pushes, and I have to credit Immortals for really moving around the map well and using their map. That being said, Cena are still looking for that one big team fight, and Jensen just finished his last item.
Yeah, grabbing the death cap, such a big power spike for him. If you get that shockwave, you can end the game with that proper spell. But I mean, there are ways to avoid it too, right? Like Cody-san has his ultimate to respond to that with the Featherstorm. If you can actually dodge out that shockwave, that is big. The Zhonya's is a way for Smithy to dodge that out. Ole doesn't really care that much. Pobelter, he is vulnerable, but you know, there's options for Immortals, and if they can position well and use their spells effectively, they can minimize the damage that Jensen can get done with that.
Ooh, Sneaky. We've seen a lot of Varus versus Taliyah 1v1s actually, and I think Sneaky likely winning in this particular stage.
You would think so, but if you can hit that seismic shove, you can instantly take that guy down. So it's a scary fight to go for. Do you want to take a 1v1 that could decide the game? You better be pretty confident if you do.
Ooh, Shockwave lands! Speaking of confidence, Jensen goes legendary.
Jensen just deletes him, an unassisted kill this late in the game, almost a minute on that cooldown. And C9 set up that trap. They were looking to wall off the C9 members, and they anticipated that Taliyah would be over there looking for the ultimate to get that wall, and now he goes down. That's a lot of their wave there, and they can shove in here.
Yeah, Sneaky just lets the ultimate rip. Contract's running forward with the ball. Might just start a fight as Flame is cutting the wave. Turret goes down.
He's cutting the wave, so they will not be able to push for the inhibitor. There's only 2 minions left. C9 now has to back off, and the question is, what else can they get done? Flame is actually going straight up for the inhibitor. I don't think Impact is going to be able to stop this. C9, okay, he's trying to back off. He's worried about getting collapsed on it and dying.
Stun lands on the Contracts though, runs forward, looks for Smithy. Falls on him here, Stand United, Cena gonna commit it. Great stop from Jensen, catches him out of the stasis.
Perfectly timed, and Jensen is trying so hard to carry this game, but Flame is in the base, and they're on the Nexus turrets with these super minions.
Baron is also up, so Impact forced to TP back, now without a global.
Yeah, he has no way to join the fight. Now Kled can come for the collapse. This is so risky for C9. They could lose the game on this Baron call. Will they be able to get out? Here comes the Kled.
Baron is down, but the wall's gonna cut them off. Pobelter actually makes his way back. Flame goes over the wall and finds Smoothie, but now he's trapped on the other side. Contracts does die to Pobelter, but the Redemption is gonna try and reset it. Jensen doesn't have his ulti for a long, long time. And Smoothie's trying to kite away. Jensen out of mana as Cody just gets tagged by Varus ulti. Barely enough to disengage the fight, but it's not over yet.
Such ballsy calls from both of these teams. They are playing so well in the late game, and C9, they could have lost the game so easily on that play. Very, very risky with your Nexus turrets under fire. No way for your top laner to join, but they pull it off. And really nice individual plays, really nice shot calling. And we're being treated to such an exciting finish to the series.
Been an excellent one so far. Immortals, like we said, trying to prove themselves as a #1 team. This will be a series to prove it.
Yeah, Smoothie just trying to play zoning duty, trying to stop them from being able to get in to prevent any possible steal on that Baron. Remember, Impact had no way to join the fight, so Smoothie is retreating, pulling him over that wall, saving his carry, and they need to back up. They know they cannot commit to a full fight. They have Jensen very strong, and catch that QSS, how fast Sneaky was. That's like a Captain Jack level QSS there from Sneaky. Almost no pause in movement for his character there, so ridiculous reaction time.
And everyone pretty much full build right now. 44 minutes into this game with only mid and Hiv down. Baron is off the map, Cena and have it, but it's really just to defend these waves at this point more than anything else. And a pretty crucial blue steal there. Pobelter gonna grab that.
We also have to keep in mind there's only one Nexus turret up. So Flame, if he has the right opportunity, could try to force and end the game, right? Shen's damage has fallen off a cliff at this point. And if you have minions at that turret, Flame can essentially ignore Impact and just try to go for a backdoor situation. Like, Immortals obviously feels disadvantageous in the 5v5, so they're trying to play these kind of crazy skirmish-style fights where they're avoiding their opponents, but now that C9 is Baron, they're barreling down the mid lane. They are looking to impose their will on their opponents and close out this game.
Flames ducking back out as Pobelter cuts off only Smoothie. Good dodge on the Cocoon there as Smithy taking a little bit of damage on the backside. Contracts pops the ulti and runs forward, but now needs to kind of leave the area. Sneaky also chunked his Stand United committed to save the Olaf. Impact's here, but Flame right back to split pushing.
And they're in full retreat there. That is pretty costly for C9. They lose both the Olaf and the Shen ultimate. They can look to corral them, try to stop them from getting back to the base because C9 is cut off and the mid lane is being pushed in. Remember, just the one Nexus turret. C9 need to get back to base.
That Banshee's going to save Jensen's life, and he's going to cancel his back. Yeah, C9
actually for the fight.
For the kill away. Gets stayed up, and Jensen legendary again. Takes the kill. Pobelter off to the other side, riding there with Kled, but 5v4 still.
C9 called their bluff, and Impact cannot hit the taunt.
Doesn't get it. Cody Sun still cutting out of the way. Zaya does a lot of damage at this stage of the game, and so does Taliyah and Flame. He's going for it all.
Yeah, Flame is going for the backdoor again. There are minions in the mid lane. If they can stop the base, he could perhaps end the game. But these are Baron recalls, and they get back to base. Now Flame needs to run. If he gets chased down here, that could be a game-ending play.
Can't get caught. Dashes out of the way. Forced to flash up to Sneaky. Burns the Blade of the Ruined King active. Contracts will chase him well out of the base.
Woo.
But Immortals save the next push.
This game is a heart attack waiting to happen. So tense for both of these two teams. We are essentially dead even at this point. Gold is evenly split. People are getting to full builds. It's all going to come down to who can move around the map better, who can execute in these fights better, and whose shot calling is really going to shine through.
Well, shot calling will be tested once again in a minute 25 because that Elder Dragon I thought wasn't going to make it is back for another round.
Surprise. And Sneaky may get caught out here.
Good devour by Smoothie. Pobelter, great angles on these walls, just trying it. The cooldown's pretty low at this point. C9 doing well to avoid that trap, and their mid inhib should be back up soon. Another pretty underwhelming Baron power play. It's kind of a symptom of how late this game is going. C9, 182 gold on that one.
Yeah. You know, also, we have to take into consideration how strong Cody-san is at this point. He has sold up his boots. That is a 100% crit Xayah. Like, if he can have some freedom in the fights, he can shred people. When you get to 6 items with the armor bend and 100% crit, the front line becomes much less secure. Like, these guys can go down in a hurry, and Contracts, you know, charging in is not so threatening if you can just turn and kill them.
We've seen the level of AoE that Xayah puts out naturally. When you have 100% crit, the amount of team-wide damage that's coming out is pretty spectacular.
It's frightening.
And Pobelter is continuing to get side lanes pushing. That's going to force Sneaky back to that side of the map. Impact still with Globals up, looking to go, but Immortals just great push and pull and seem to always be on the front foot, at least for now.
I really do like the buy of the Knight's Vow here from Impact. I actually think that Contract should buy one too. I think that you want 2 in this composition. You put 1 on Jensen, 1 on Sneaky. They both are people who are bringing massive amounts of DPS, and keeping them alive is more important. Plus, the amount of damage they put out heals you, and it's actually going to be more effective as a tank item this late than pretty much anything else.
All right, well, Elder Dragon's going to get started, but Contract's actually already in the area. The rest of C9 cut off as well. It does get stunned, but Stangenad is going to give Impact a way in. Dragon burning low. Contract running straight in. He's going to try and take down Pobelter. Drake is going to go over to IMT. The Smoothie doesn't get the steal, but he looks for it as Ole rooted off on the other side. But what's the Cody-san? He does so much damage. Jensen still with the shockwave, looking for it as Impact. Zones out Cody Flame. Low as he does into the backline, finally gets dismounted, but he's still got the GA Cody. Better stop forward, looks for Sneaky. Takes him down as Impact gets eaten up by Smoothie. Jensen still looking for a Smoothie with an hit stake is good. There's the shutdown, double shot back for Pobelter, and Cody rips the rest of the team apart. That's gonna be game.
Immortals goes nuts in the fight, and Cody-san flying forward, takes down Sneaky. Smithy flashes over the wall, nails the cocoon on Jensen. That is that. Immortals prove they are a true contender.
A perfectly played team fight is gonna end this game. C9 move to 2 and 3 as Immortals push straight forward to first. I don't know who's going to catch them this week, but we're going to have to find out later. Immortals finish their weekend with a sweep. They've toppled TSM, they'll topple Cloud9, and they'll finish straight on top of the mountain today.
What an impressive start to the split for Immortals. So many people were questioning these guys coming in, but they are playing these games out so ridiculously well. They are moving around the map well. They're on the same page. Individual outplays in some of these fights. Smithy with one of the best Baron steals I have ever seen, keeping them alive in the game, and then massive plays coming out from Cody-san and Smithy in the final team fight, catching the carries and taking them down.
I mean, even just little things like the confidence to sell your boots and be like, yeah, I got this. We're in a late game team fight. Let me do the carrying. Everything came together there, and Jensen's only death came with that last team fight. C9 behind them in there, and did everything they could to try and win that game. But at the end of the series, in almost a 50-minute long bout, with about 1,000 damage per minute by Cody-san, Immortals will come out on top with a 2-1 win.
Pretty insane to think that Cody-san did almost the same amount of damage as Jensen and Sneaky combined. They did put out, you know, a little bit more, but I mean, this is comparable amounts of damage. 49,435 damage for Cody-san, and the combined amount for the C9 mid and ADC, who were pretty much all their damage, is about 54,000.
He's going to have to move up that tier list, I think.
Yeah, what are you doing, Freak?
What are you doing indeed? Well, we'll have another look at that fight. That was absolute insanity. So let's have a look at it once more. A replay of the game-ending ace by Immortals.
Yeah, and this is such a crazy point in the game. You know that one team fight is certainly going to decide it. Contracts decides he wants to commit to this fight, but instead of going for the Elder steal, they actually turn to just try to get the kills. And you know, it's tough to make those calls in the moment, but the Elder Dragon burn gives them so much more power once that is secured by Immortals, and it's these plays here. Sneaky gets kind of cut off from the team. He's cutting out to the side as Jensen is going up. They are now split off, and then watch Cody-san flash forward. Featherstorm flash, pulls it back, instantly kills off Sneaky, and then Smithy flashes over the wall, threads the cocoon right onto Jensen, knowing that Tahm Kench Devour is on cooldown from pulling Shen over the wall. So C9 getting split up there in the team fight, and both the incredible confidence from Cody-san and Smithy to go forward and make those plays ends up netting them a victory.
I mean, insanely tight game there
Yeah.
right at the end. But I think one of the best team fights I've seen in a very long time. And we talk about, Xmithie moving on to this team and providing a bit more experience. Well, that experience comes with a lot of clutch factor, and that Baron Steel and that Cocoon sealed the game.
It really did. And like the Baron still, man.
I still don't know how
can't
that
get
really
over it.
happened.
That was actually insane. I mean, C9 were trying so hard to zone him. The use of the repel, the Zonias, the flash, everything had to be done pretty much perfectly there from Xmithie to be able to pull that off. And just nuts.
Well, for the inside story on that series, let's check in with Kobe and Immortals jungler.
That's right. We're here with Xmithie after that really impressive steal. I almost remembered back to MSI when you had your steal versus RNG with your Kindred ultimate. How do you feel when you're in these late game opportunities like this, where everything revolves around the team fights and these neutral objectives, and a couple of mistakes could mean victory or defeat?
I think the most important aspect of like late game in general is just try to be calm, and then everyone just needs to give the right information so that like whoever's the shot caller is like can give the right shot call. So like it's just all about your teammates relying on that shot caller. So.
And we've heard a lot about, Pobelter talked about your game knowledge and relying on you for a lot of those types of scenarios. Are you the main shot caller in the late stages, or are you also, everybody feeds information to each other? Is it a multi-man process?
I can say like it's like everyone's job to shot call. So like I can't call like every like micro that everyone like can get a pick off of this guy, but mainly like the general strategy is like mainly me. Yeah. So and then people just keep giving information. So like I feel like it's just all like a team game. So.
It definitely is a team game, and even though people were really focused on the jungler trade with Immortals early on, all of your teammates have really improved this split and stepped up in a huge way. What is the practice atmosphere for you guys right now, and how far do you see this version of Immortals going this split?
It's really funny actually because first week that we played, that we went 2-0, we were actually losing a lot of games, like scrim games, and then second week, we were pretty much winning everything, and then that's when like our blunder happened. So I really don't know how it relates to like scrim environment, but everyone just wants to improve, so that's the big thing.
All right, well, we're definitely seeing that improvement on stage where it counts. Now we're going to send it over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Kobe. What a treat to see that series end in the way it did, Game 3 being so close and a hard-fought game. Series as a whole from both squads with Immortals coming out on top. And now at the beginning of the day, we had posed the question, if they take down C9 today, are we willing to call them definitively a top team? Mark, what's your answer?
It didn't necessarily happen the way I thought it would have, but I think you have to say, yes, this is a top-tier team. They've beaten TSM, they've beaten C9, and they've had a lot of really close games, but they always find ways to eke them out. They show good late-game decisiveness in terms of finding creative ways to deal with issues, where C9 is much stronger, and they keep going all over the map this late game. Flame is constantly splitting on the Kled, and they keep forcing other people into weird situations that no one's really comfortable in, and then they play them better.
Right, and so having won games 2 and 3 after suffering the loss in game 1, we on the Analysts were talking about how we would like to see maybe Immortals move away from the attention to the mid lane that has been talked about so much throughout the split and say, hey, Pobelter can handle himself, man. Let him live in that 1v1. Go pay some attention to your side lanes who have improved greatly over the last, 5-6 months, and let's see what happens with that kind of game plan.
Don't take the assassin versus assassin matchup from game 1. Take stable or mid matchups, and it pays huge dividends. It allows, Pobelter to hang on mid while Xmithie goes and makes plays in the side lanes. This game started crazy, too. If you remember, there was this insane 3v3 in the bot lane with the counter gank ending up in a 2-for-2. Really well played by Immortals and C9. Sneaky, sticking in there to pick up that last kill, and then both bot laners have double buffs, but it doesn't matter because the supports are all over the rest of the map as well. We see right after this Xmithie going up to the top side, getting some kills as well, and his ability to influence both the top and bot lane was a huge reason for why this game was in Immortals' hands for the majority of this game, getting that Kled snowballing against the Shen matchup and guaranteeing pressure against that global.
Again, I just love to see all the supports on playmakers who get opened up to roam. I mean, we see it with Afromove over on CLG. We see it with Smoothie when he gets to play the Rakan. Ole on the Thresh has been such a playmaker. But again, right alongside those junglers, and it's about what kind of action and advantages can they create. And Xmithie has done just that for this team, insofar as the late game as well. Again, don't forget, but he had to come up with that very inventive Baron steal to even keep them in the game at a late game situation, which could have completely tilted it.
I think that's the big thing is because there were so many situations where Immortals did have to find creative solutions. Even following like the first Baron attempt that C9 was able, after they got that Baron, they found a couple pickoffs to make sure that they didn't get big Baron power plays off. You saw like plus 182, plus like 1,000 at most, I think. One of them was negative 1,000 for Immortals after the steal. So it was a really hard-fought game off the back of this really nice early game. But that's the thing about C9 is that with Jensen, you can win almost any team fight. This dude in game 2, even from behind with the Lucian, was going crazy. And yeah, this team fight here is just basically...
Roll one of the many clips where Jensen pops off here.
C9, despite being behind, they get a brush bait off. They find a unique angle, and you see Sneaky start this fight off. Looks like he's going to go down, but you see just how good of a team fight that they can play from behind. Contract zones both carries into the backside here, and this sets up the Orianna. Shockwave pulls both in. Instantly, the backline deleted on the side of Immortals can no longer win this team fight. And with this, you think, oh my God, C9 might be coming back in the game.
Well, and that's the thing. Remember that going into the final team fight of the game, Jensen was 10-0-3. Also, that gold graph is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You see, right there's when they get the Baron, right around 28 minutes, and then instantly goes back into Immortals' favor because they don't let C9 have time to start trying to play the pressure game with the Baron buff.
Absolutely, but I do want to talk about Jensen, one as an individual, and continue to give him props for the way that he's playing the game. I mean, just phenomenal all around, but back to our original point. If Jensen's playing that well to be 10-0-3 and you're still finding ways to play around that and win the game, I think that's what speaks to Immortals becoming a very well-rounded team. They're not, a single point of failure, only one win condition, only one way to play the game, which... no offense to Dardoch, did seem kind of like their identity last split was just, we always have to go forward, we always have to go forward. And now he's getting that aggression tempered over on CLG and being better for it. And over here on Immortals, Xmithie coming in, kind of being that calming voice. He spoke about composure being the most important thing in late game team fights, and it shows.
I mean, he's been in this scene for so long now. You go all the way back to XDG back in the day when they were making, some noise at Worlds with his early game play on Lee Sin. This dude has a ton of experience. He's not going to get frazzled in a week 3 match that's kind of getting crazy in terms of in-game. He's able to keep his head level and figure out what he needs to do to get the victory.
Well, Immortals are definitively a top-tier team with their victory over Cloud9 today. We've still got more league action coming your way. Up next, Phoenix 1 look to defeat Team Dignitas. Don't go anywhere. You're watching North American LCS.